Good afternoon, good evening, and for some of you, good morning, and welcome to the first in a series of AGIF sustainability webinars in 2021. My name is Eric Lynch, and I'm the CEO of the Asian Golf Industry Federation, and I will be your host and facilitator for today's webinar. By way of background, the AGIF launched a series of webinars in late 2020 and ran 10 online seminars in the latter part of last year. The feedback and participation from the global industry was fantastic and gratifying to receive. As such, webinars will now become a mainstay of our activities now and post-COVID period. Most every week on Thursdays, we will continue to deliver webinars on turf and club management industry with industry leaders to supply career building information to professionals in Asia and the rest of the world. We have a great lineup of speakers generously willing to share their time and expertise with us. A bit about the AGIF. The Asian Golf Industry Federation is a not-for-profit membership federation comprised of suppliers and facilities in the turf, club, and sports industry. The Federation focuses on building sustainable practices, both in the environmental and economic aspects throughout the Asia-Pacific region. We believe that key in the development of sustainable industry is the education and empowerment of professionals in the industry, hence running events like today's. We have developed the AGIF certificate in greenskeeping, which is supported by the R&A and 5 AGIF member organizations. The CIG focuses on developing a skill set of greenkeepers and turf professionals throughout Asia. We also focus on club management education and our partners at the Club Management Association of America. We rolled out education in Asia for the pathway to the certified club manager degree. The CCM is considered the gold standard in club management industry globally, and managers in Asia can achieve the necessary education here in Asia as a result of this partnership with the CMAA. It is vital to have strong partners in implementing education throughout Asia, and our education is recognized for credits for the PGA of America, the PGA of GB in Ireland, the PGA of Australia, the PGA of Japan, the Club Management Association of America, and the GCSAA. Due to the travel restrictions from the COVID-19 pandemic, webinars are the only way we can continue to deliver education at the moment. We'll resume event education when travel restrictions ease, and we'll keep you posted as this develops. Over the past few months, we've spent quite a bit of time improving our digital offering and membership benefits. For more information, please log on to www.agif.asia, as well as our LinkedIn and Facebook company pages. Please also sign up for our weekly newsletter to join 10,000 industry contacts, receive weekly industry updates. The AGIF is a non-for-profit federation, and now more than ever, we rely upon membership dues to operate. So if you like what we do, and or you think that your facility or company will benefit from communicating with the industry, please note that our membership benefits are substantial and can be seen on our website under AGIF membership benefits. Please take a look. If you're already an AGIF member, thank you. Your ongoing support is greatly appreciated. And speaking of member support, we'd like to thank the sponsors for today's webinar, Profile Products, Sustain Natural Fertilizer, and the Toro Company. Without their support, we would not be able to run events like this. So we thank you very much for your patronage. Onto some housekeeping issues. Chris has developed a presentation of roughly 50 minutes, which we will play in a few minutes. Chris will join us live afterwards, and we'll have 30 minutes for a Q&A. The chat and Q&A buttons are on throughout, so please feel free to ask questions, which we can then voice to Chris during the Q&A session. There are also a few survey questions for you to answer as well. The surveys are open to all, so please take time to answer the brief questions. Now on to the main event. We'll now endeavor to screen share Chris' prepared presentation, and we'll be back for live Q&A afterwards. Please bear with us for a few seconds during setup. Here we go.
Hi everyone. Welcome to the Asian Golf Industry Federation 2021 Sustainable Webinar Series. I'd like to thank Eric, Spencer, and Gwen for the work they've done in setting up these webinars. My name is Chris Gray, Head of Sustainability and Agronomy in Asia Pacific for the R&A. In this webinar, I'll be talking about the R&A, golf sustainability, and sustainable agronomy. Firstly, some background on my experience in golf and my role with the R&A, which I started back in early 2020. I'm originally from Victoria, Australia, and I've worked in the golf industry for over 30 years, with the past 27 years as an agronomic consultant, golf course superintendent, and project development manager in Asia Pacific, Central Asia, and the Middle East regions. Prior to joining the R&A, I was the Director of Agronomy and Golf Redevelopment at the Singapore Island Country Club here in Singapore. And my role as Head of Sustainability and Agronomy, Asia Pacific, is based at the R&A's regional office in Singapore here at Sentosa Golf Club. My primary focus will be promoting best sustainability practices for golf and also providing agronomic assistance to the R&A's championship events, working closely with the R&A sustainability and agronomy teams at the Home of Golf in St Andrews. I'll start with an overview of the R&A and some of the different functions within the R&A. There's our heritage with the Royal and Ancient Golf Club, which was founded in 1754 at the Home of Golf in St Andrews, where golf has been played on the links for over 600 years. There's the R&A's role in staging the Open and other major professional and amateur championships. Played on iconic links golf courses since 1860, the Open is golf's oldest and most international major and was founded by pioneering golfers who had one guiding principle: to crown the champion golfer of the year.
The Open Championship was held this year at the Home of Golf, St Andrews.
Oh, he's got it, and that's it.
The champion golfer of the year, Severiano Ballesteros.
The Open Championship at St Andrews, the home of golf, is truly special.
71.
If you're going to be a player that's going to be remembered, you must win at St Andrews.
And of course, there's the R&A's responsibilities for the governance and rules of golf, and together, the R&A and the USGA govern the sport of golf worldwide. Operating in separate jurisdictions, but sharing one commitment to a single code for the rules of golf, rules of amateur status, and equipment standards. The R&A governs golf worldwide outside of the United States and Mexico, with the consent of 156 organisations from amateur and professional golf, and on behalf of over 30 million golfers in 143 countries. There's also the R&A's role in the development of the sport. Each year, the R&A invests in developing golf worldwide. This includes grassroots initiatives, coaching, public facilities, equipment profession, professional golf, amateur events, and student golf. The overall aim is to support golf wherever it is played and to encourage its growth in countries where it's still in its infancy. In doing so, the R&A, working through its affiliates, promotes golf as being a sport for life which can be played and enjoyed by people of all ages, backgrounds, levels, and abilities. Today, I'll be talking about sustainability. Sustainability is a key priority for golf and an important element of the sport's contribution to wider society and the effect the game has on nature and resources, which provides a positive sporting environment and a social legacy for future generations. This is our virtuous circle. It's the foundation on which our strategic priorities are built. This plan sets out our vision to ensure that golf is still thriving in 50 years' time. We will do this by continuing to deliver successful professional championships, generating revenue for reinvestment in the game, and effective governance of the rules and modernisation of the sport. Now here's a short video with an overview of the virtuous circle. I'll elaborate further on sustainable golf and sustainable agronomy in this presentation. Firstly, our goal for sustainability. Through fact-based evidence, contribute to and promote environmental excellence and world-class leadership in resource efficiency, conservation, and social value. The sustainability agenda for golf can be best described under these three headings: nature, communities, and resources. Nature reflects the environment in which golf is played and its impact on the sport and the sport's impact on the natural world. Communities concerns how golf can benefit the people that live close to a golf facility and the interaction between golf and its neighbours. And finally, the resource agenda considers the requirement for manpower, machinery and materials, and how a sustainable approach to the development and management of golf courses can bring cost savings and enhance revenue opportunities. Priorities include setting the standards for sustainability by supporting the GEO Foundation's certification program for new developments, existing facilities, and also championship events, and to promote the GEO's on-course online platform for the golf industry through our affiliated national associations. We will also be supporting the research and development of new technologies through our Golf Sustainability Fund for capital projects. Another area of focus will be the staging of sustainable championships. This includes developing a structured program to reduce our carbon footprint at the Open and work towards becoming carbon neutral. Also, to deliver the GreenLink sustainability program at the Open to ensure that it remains at the forefront of major sporting events in managing its impact on the environment. And to implement a rolling program of improvements in energy use, recycling, green transport, and the removal of single-use materials at the Open and our other professional and amateur championships. Golf Course 2030 is another key initiative that I will discuss in more detail later in the presentation. The priorities for Golf Course 2030 include engaging with key stakeholders in Great Britain and Ireland, then Europe and further afield to initiate a rolling 3-year collaborative program to raise awareness of the sustainability challenges facing the sport. In each region, we will work to develop an action plan to address the challenges in course conditioning and playability presented by climate change, reduced resource availability and increased regulation. And with industry support, research will be conducted to provide guidance and educational opportunities with a view to developing potential practical solutions to alleviate some of these challenges we are facing across the world. And now I will cross to Steve Isaac, the Director of Sustainability at the R&A based in St Andrews.
Hi, I'm Steve Isaac, the Director of Sustainability at the R&A, here at the home of golf, St Andrews in Scotland. The R&A is probably best known for its role in governing the rules of golf around the world, and also for staging 2 of the golf world's major championships, the Open and the AIG Women's Open. We are heavily involved in other activities as well, and certainly consider ourselves a custodian of the sport of golf. And that's probably not surprising, given that we're based here in St Andrews and I'm currently looking out on the links where golf has been played for centuries. And there's the clubhouse of the Royal and Ancient Golf Club of St Andrews in the background, which was founded in 1754. However, whilst we can learn a lot of lessons from our history, it's very important that we look to the future. And for the R&A, the future development and growth of the game is extremely important, particularly with regards its growth in a sustainable manner. Sustainability basically delivers golf facilities that are financially viable, but which also deliver net gains for nature and communities. It's all very well the R&A going around the world encouraging everyone in golf to follow sustainable practices and policies, but we can only do that credibly if we actually implement similar practices and policies ourselves. We do that as an organisation through our corporate responsibility programme, covering all our operational activities, trying to minimize our environmental footprint and contributing a legacy to our local community and to the world of golf. We also run a sustainable development program for our championships called Green Links. And this looks at the venues which host the Open Championship and also all of the staging activities necessary to put on golf championships. With regards to the venues, we use the Geo On-Course platform and Geo certification to provide an assurance that all of our open facilities are following sustainable practices. And we extend that across our other championships. On our way to getting our house in order, and it must be emphasised that this is very much a work in progress. Indeed, we should consider sustainability to be very much a work in progress. There will always be new challenges, new opportunities that we need to address. But on this path, we also offer programs and initiatives to the golfing world to support them in joining us on this sustainability journey. Two of our main initiatives relate to greenkeeper education and a program called Golf Course 2030. We support greenkeeper education around the world, but in the Asia Pacific region, particularly the AGIF's certificate in greenkeeping, and we have extended our greenkeeping scholarship program into Australia, supporting the diploma and degree programs run by Melbourne Polytechnic. Golf Course 2030 is an initiative that looks to safeguard the condition and playability of our golf courses in light of the challenges posed by climate change, resource constraints, and regulation. As an organisation, we believe that sustainability is one of the keys to securing the future of the sport of golf. And we very much hope that you will join us on our sustainability journey.
Thank you, Steve. I will now elaborate further on the Green Links program. The Open is committed to working as a driving force for sustainability in sport, and Green Links is a bespoke sustainability strategy that has been developed for the staging of the Open in the most sustainable manner. Green Links was first implemented in 2015 for the staging of the 144th Open at St Andrews. It puts in place a framework for venue, staging, communications, partnership and legacy. Green Links has evolved over the years, and the 2019 Open at Royal Portrush delivered a showcase sustainability project called the Open Water Initiative to tackle single-use plastic water bottles, raising awareness of ocean pollution, as well as changing behaviour towards drinking water. The key elements of the Open Water Initiative were to remove all single-use plastic bottles from the Open, with the knowledge that in previous years over 100,000 single-use plastic water bottles would be used at each Open.
When you go back and ask a golfer, what do they remember about a golf course? 95% of them are going to say the beauty rather than, oh, I love the 18th hole. They're going to say, I just love the environment. I love the experience of playing golf outdoors in such a beautiful place. As the human race continues this path of growing and growing, we have to be very concerned about what we put in the oceans. And one of the things that the Open Championship is trying to do is make people aware that we have to protect that. We're the stewards.
Our game is built around this relationship with nature. We felt that we have to do something, we have to do our little bit to help.
Every year, we're estimating about 8 million tons of plastic pollution ending up in our marine ecosystems. That's the equivalent of about a garbage truck every single minute. So the marine plastic pollution crisis, if you will, is one that we really need to get ahead of and figure out how to manage.
The Open Water Project is a project where we try to take away all single-use plastic water bottles from the course. The collaboration between Blue Water and the Open consists of 19 water stations and a huge amount of reusable water bottles.
A big part of the project is that we've been giving away refillable bottles completely for free. So over the course of the championship, we're going to give away over 5,000 stainless steel open branded refillable bottles. The ocean is the backdrop to the championship. So we thought as a platform to talk to people about the problem of global marine plastic pollution, the Open has something pretty special to offer.
Great to see the R&A and the Open taking this initiative. There will be no single-use plastic water bottles sold at the golf course. Look, we've got to look after the environment, and it's got to start now.
I play 25 events a year, so you think about what I sort of drink alone is a lot, never mind the other 156 guys every year, so it makes sense. It just saves so much wastage.
I think it's such a big global platform, and as well for it being something so different, and for the likes of the players as well to be promoting it, I think a lot of people will get behind it.
We're hopefully triggering a big behaviour change. That will be a lasting message, so when people go home, they'll keep those bottles with them, they'll take them to work with them, they'll take them to the office, they'll take them to the gym, and leave a lasting impact in their minds.
I'm going to probably continue to use this bottle long after the Open's been, and hopefully it'll continue to be used until the next time it comes back.
So there's still a lot to be done, but we know from the media, we know from the reaction and feedback of citizens, of companies, of government, cities, that this is something that has the world's attention.
The Open Championship is exactly on track and trying to make people aware that we have a responsibility. This ocean here is our responsibility.
Greenkeeping support is another priority, because without courses, there would be no golf. The R&A recognises the key role of greenkeepers and superintendents in preparing courses for play and taking care of the natural environment which forms such an important part of the enjoyment of golf. Greenkeeper education is vital to the future sustainability of the sport. And the R&A operates a greenkeeping scholarship program which supports ambitious greenkeepers wishing to advance in the industry. With this in mind, the R&A established the Greenkeeping Scholarship Program in 2004 to provide support to students enrolled in turf management education. The R&A works closely with selected education providers and identifies the most deserving students to receive scholarships each year. The scholarship provides a financial contribution to the cost of a higher level education. The program has evolved to provide students with some unique opportunities. These include the opportunity to assist the greenkeeping team with the preparation of the Open Championship, along with various European Tour events, including the Singapore Open. Networking is another key benefit of the scholarship program, with access to a dedicated digital communications platform shared by current and past R&A greenkeeping scholars around the globe. And in 2020, the Australian Sports Turf Managers Association and the R&A partnered with Melbourne Polytechnic to pilot a scholarship program as an initiative to promote pathways for students in Australia to continue studies for either their diploma or degree in sports turf management.
The R&A's Working for Golf programme invests in the future of the sport, and one of its core objectives is the sustainable development and management of golf courses. Greenkeepers play a vital role in this, and the R&A has supported their education over the past decade through an ongoing scholarship programme.
The scholarship is a programme whereby the students are offered some financial support by the R&A to help them with the cost of their studies. But it's much more than that. It opens up their network of contacts, and it gives them opportunities for employment literally all over the world, and improves their professionalism and their wider outlook on the world of golf.
That's the biggest thing, I think, from the R&A scholarship programme, is the people I've met, the networking I've done. It's going to be so beneficial for my career moving forward.
Through the success of the Open Championship, the R&A Greenkeeping Scholarship was instigated in 2004 to support working greenkeepers through higher education. Now operated through SRUC Elmwood College in Scotland and Myerscough College in England, the scholarship contributes to the cost of fees but also offers a number of unique opportunities for the students.
It's all the added extras along the way. When you go to St Andrews and meet Gordon Muir and find out what they're doing there, talking to other scholars, I had the opportunity to go to a sustainability conference. It's the bits and pieces you pick up along the way that are invaluable.
It's almost a stamp of endorsement. They've got that R&A badge, and that opens doors, it opens opportunities, because obviously the R&A are known throughout the world. So it's given them that sort of almost credibility and enhancement.
The scholars are able to attend an annual networking event at BTME, the largest golf course management exhibition and conference in Europe. While another highlight of the year is a field study visit to the old Tom Morris course at Askernish, where they can experience golf course management in its original and purest form.
The last few days it's just grown on you, it's just how simple golf can be, how simple golf maintenance can be.
You don't see anything that looks unnatural to the land, it's all just laid out how it would have been with limited machinery.
This is as old-fashioned as golf can get. I mean, this is the founding golf course, I think. There's nothing like this in the world.
There's also an annual visit to the Open, which includes a behind-the-scenes tour of the media centre.
To see like the R&A press conference, the media centre, kind of like behind the scenes as to what goes on, because obviously you're just here to view the golf and past, and to see it today, it's great.
The pinnacle, though, is the opportunity to work as part of the greenkeeping teams at the Open, as well as other professional tournaments. Graduates from the programme are now working around the world in key positions at golf facilities and other golf industry-related organisations. More information on the scholarship programme is available from the R&A website, or contact us at gkscholars@randa.org.
Since the programme's inception, the R&A has supported over 340 scholars from more than 30 different countries. And this map shows the location where the past R&A scholars are currently working. The R&A are also supporting the Asian Golf Industry Federation with a certificate in greenkeeping. Recognising the positive sustainable impact of this program, the R&A is a founding supporter of the CIG, along with AGIF members Jacobson, Jebsen Jessen, John Deere, Syngenta, Toro, who are education partners in the program, which was launched in 2018 after several years of discussion and development. The New Zealand Sports Turf Institute was selected as the education partner for the development of the curriculum and implementation of the CIG, with a purpose to create viable, consistent education for professionals in Asia looking to advance their career in turf management. The program to date has been delivered to 52 students who were supported by 29 mentors across programs in Malaysia and Thailand. Students are guided through the year-long learning process with regular communication and feedback from tutors and mentors. Golf Course 2030. This is a key priority program established by the R&A in 2018 as an industry initiative to consider the impacts, both positive and negative, of the changing climate, resource constraints and regulation that affect course condition and playability. Instigated and facilitated by the R&A, Golf Course 2030 is intended to address our purpose, which is to make golf more accessible and appealing and inclusive, and ensure it's thriving 50 years from now. The golf course is the sports foundation, and without conditioning and playability that appeals to golfers, the game will not thrive. The outcomes from Golf Course 2030 should help course managers sustain and even improve course conditions and playability compared to what we enjoy today. The UN 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda encompasses 17 Sustainable Development Goals and provides a valuable reference for our Golf Course 2030 program. With the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development as a reference, Golf Course 2030 takes a global perspective with 8 of the UN 2030 objectives aligned with our Golf Course 2030 initiative. What are the drivers for adaptation for our Golf Course 2030 program? Well, we consider climate change, resource constraints, and regulation as being the 3 main drivers impacting our ability to secure optimal golf course condition, playability for current and future generations. Climate. Changes in the climate, more climatic extremes, cause problems for course managers. Turf does best in an environment with limited variability and and changes in weather patterns will result in the need for course management to adjust to such circumstances. Resources. Resources considered essential for today's golf courses are likely to become scarcer and more expensive in the future. This applies to areas such as water, pesticides, fertilizer, sand, energy, and labour. Regulation. Often directly related to resource issues, water, pesticide, and biodiversity regulations are all having an impact on course condition, playability, and golf course operating costs. Regulation on other issues such as fertilizer, energy consumption, and waste disposal will also influence the future management of our golf courses. To date, Golf Course 2030 plans have been completed for the following countries in conjunction with our national affiliates and industry stakeholders. In the Asia Pacific region, Golf Course 2030 plan has been produced for Singapore, with organic waste disposal being recognised as an ongoing and future concern for golf courses on the island. Using a Golf Sustainability Fund grant awarded by the R&A, Sentosa Golf Club, which is located on Sentosa Island in Singapore, will install 2 digesters with the ability to grind down food, horticultural waste to reuse as fertiliser on the golf course and surrounding landscape, with Sentosa Golf Club estimating cost savings of up to 30% on monthly waste disposal costs. And having the ability to produce their own organic fertiliser, we envisage that the sustainable organic waste management project will act as a model for other golf courses around the world to follow. Embarking on a 2-stage process, the first will see Sentosa Golf Club using a food waste biodigester to process and grind down food waste from its 3 food and beverage outlets on site. The second stage of the project will introduce a heavy-duty wood chipper and biodigester shredder to grind down an estimated 1 tonne of horticultural waste that is generated each month at the club.
Sentosa's always been a leader in environmental initiatives. You look at what they've done to reduce single-use plastics. They've introduced bee colonies on the golf courses, and the Keep It Green campaign, which they introduced at the 2018 Singapore Open to educate spectators, players and viewers on what they're doing on the environmental front.
And also Golf Course 2030 in Great Britain and Ireland, where the R&A has awarded funding to projects that address the aims of Golf Course 2030. Challenges and opportunities facing course management, which are changing climate, resource constraints and regulation. There are studies in place related to course condition and playability, such as green quality standards for golf course beyond the greens. There are also studies in place that consider the greenkeeper and course manager profile and decision-making process for grass selection. Other studies include water management on golf courses, how it will affect the golf industry in the future. Also, integrated turf management for golf greens, with an objective to produce the best management handbook for managing parkland golf courses. And finally, there are several studies in place related to coastal change, coastal management. These will also include linked surveys. Studying coastal management innovations, and how best to engage with the golf community to highlight their role in coastal management. And a Golf Course 2030 plan is currently underway in Australia. This will be one of the largest whole-of-golf projects in Australia in many years, with Golf Australia and the Australian Sports Turf Managers Association leading the project in conjunction with key association industry stakeholders. The initial steps are in place to bring stakeholders together, state by state, to identify and agree upon priority issues, firstly at a state level, and then at the national level. The next steps will then involve formulating a plan to address these priority issues, and where necessary, additional research will be conducted with a view to develop practical solutions where possible. In the next segment, I'll discuss the on-course program. What can an individual golf facility do to enhance their reputation in the community? The R&A strongly advocates for individual golf facilities and golf associations to be proactive in sustainability, fostering nature, conserving resources and supporting communities. We also believe that it is important for commitments to be backed up by evidence of progress and results. This is why we have contributed to the establishment of OnCourse, which is a support program for golf facilities and a platform for industry associations developed by the Geo Foundation. We believe OnCourse is important to the long-term strength and viability of the sport at all levels, and key to improving golf's image and reputation. OnCourse for Golf Facilities is an easy-to-use online application that has been custom-built to help golf courses, club managers, committees, and staff teams to integrate sustainability across operations, generate new business opportunities, and quickly establish the facility as a leader in their local community. With OnCourse, you will be able to review and evaluate current performance against industry best practices, gain new ideas and identify opportunities to enhance the course, save resources and money, and generate new publicity. It's also a great tool to gather and track key data and report on monthly and annual trends. One real-world example of the value of tracking data comes from St Andrews Links, where after an audit of the irrigation system, which was prompted by the OnCourse program, some simple steps were taken to become more efficient with their irrigation applications. For example, the arcs of the water nozzles were altered to avoid watering rough, while some of the sprinklers were removed altogether, as well as refurbishment of the outdated equipment. Overall, they managed to accomplish a 25% reduction in water use on greens cycles and a 20% reduction for the fairways. Subsequently, the energy used for the pumping system has also been reduced. You will also be able to easily create and promote your sustainability highlights to better communicate to management, staff, golfers and the wider community. And you even have the ability to measure and generate a detailed carbon footprint report for your facility. You also have the option of becoming Geo certified. This certification can help gain recognition for your facility in the community and can assist you in communicating with confidence that your facility takes sustainability and protecting the environment seriously. The R&A understand the value of positive messaging around sustainability and environmental stewardship, which is a key reason why the open venues are all Geo certified. And there are also opportunities for personal recognition to become a sustainability champion, which can enhance your reputation, not only in the golf industry, but also in the wider community. Through our affiliate, Golf Australia, we are supporting an initiative by the Australian Sports Turf Managers Association and GEO to launch On Course Australia. This pilot project will work with 20 golf clubs from diverse regions around the country to review and tailor the On Course sustainability platform for the Australian environment. In this next section, I will discuss what we consider to be key principles for sustainable golf course design and course management. Keeping in line with our Golf Course 2030 initiative, it is vital to emphasise the importance of a sustainable approach to course development and design. The R&A believe that a well-designed or remodelled golf course will reduce costs and ensure long-term business security, and this is certainly true for the old course at St Andrews. How a course is designed will have a major impact on day-to-day operations, financially, environmentally, socially, and in terms of what level of surface presentation is attainable. And these factors will all to varying degrees be determined by natural topography of the land and any subsequent shaping work that has to be undertaken, soil construction profiles for playing surfaces, selected grass species, irrigation and drainage systems, routing of holes, maintenance pathways, and access points are all other key considerations. Some of the key issues to pay attention to during the design or remodelling review phase will include grass selection. Choosing the right grass type for your soil, climate, and surface requirements will be one of the most important decisions you make. And maintaining a turf species which are best suited to your particular climate, soil type, and water availability will significantly reduce your requirement for additional maintenance inputs such as fertilizer and chemicals. It's also worthwhile working closely with a professional agronomist or course consultant on this issue and conduct on-site trials with newer grasses that have been bred to be more tolerant of climatic stress and pressure from pests and diseases. Incidentally, the turf grass in these photos is a newer zoysia variety, which has been trialled with great success over the past few years in Southeast Asia and now being utilised on several new courses in the region with very good performance and playability. If you get your irrigation and drainage requirements on target, you'll have taken a big step towards ensuring the overall sustainability of your golf course. Consulting and engaging closely with the appropriate professionals for the design of your irrigation system and drainage system are vital to ensure adequate water storage, precise irrigation application, and the option for collecting stormwater runoff from the site are all key factors to be considered carefully for the conservation of this precious resource. It's also very important to take into consideration the environmental implications of the proposed work. Consulting and engaging closely with local or national wildlife organisations is always a very worthwhile course of action, as a well-designed golf course can be havens for wildlife, and there are often opportunities for clubs to positively collaborate with these organisations on this issue. The social impacts of the development, be that a new build or remodelling work, can have both implications for the local community. And it is important to thoroughly assess the likely impacts, such as noise or traffic disturbance, and then take action to communicate these issues clearly with the aim of coming to positive agreements. Building good relationships with your local community will go a long way towards ensuring that your facility has positive support in the future. It is vital to emphasise the importance of a sustainable approach to course management that entails key basic turf management principles to ensure reliability and performance. The primary objective of any turf management program should be to developing true, firm, dry and healthy playing surfaces. Keeping in mind that golf courses vary greatly around the world in terms of their soils, grasses, climates and available resources, turf management as such can never be prescribed as a one-size-fits-all discipline. Yet, despite this great diversity, there are still several key principles which, if adopted and applied, will always help to deliver healthy growing conditions, high standards of playing surfaces, and reduce annual maintenance costs. Touched on grass selection in the design and development section of this presentation and the importance of choosing the right grass for the climatic conditions. Here in Asia, when looking at warm season grass choices, we have three main options, which are Bermuda grass, seashore paspalum, and zoysia grass. All these grasses thrive in warm weather, and it is important to note that the individual cultivars within each species provide additional benefits that may be more suited to a particular location or climatic situation. As I mentioned earlier, one of the Golf Course 2030 projects involves the development of a turf grass selection guide, and this will be a useful tool to evaluate the turf grass options for your particular region. Understanding water. Efficient and effective water management is a prerequisite for growing healthy grass. A good water management program is about striking the right balance between irrigation inputs and practices to promote good drainage. Giving the turf the water it needs, but neither more nor less, is a fine art and an approach which can be greatly assisted through implementing a good monitoring program and working with modern technology such as soil moisture sensors. Modern computerized irrigation systems can also allow irrigation to be applied via individual sprinkler control and accurately down to the millimetre, promoting natural soil biology. Good greenkeeping is based on good soil husbandry. A vibrant soil biology will support healthy grass. Providing adequate nutrition through the promotion of natural soil processes in the soil or sand should produce just enough turf growth for the desired standard of playing surface. Also, look to utilise organic fertiliser sources where possible. Good services for golf are based on the quality of grass, not the quantity. Excessive lush growth from the over-application of water and fertilizer can be very costly to control and can also make your course more susceptible to outbreaks of pests and diseases. When building a golf course in sandy soils or rebuilding greens, consider the fact that straight sand can have very high water infiltration rates and minimal nutrition holding capacity, leading to high water usage, localized dry spots, and higher fertilization requirements, which can result in poor playing surfaces. For new greens construction with a sand profile, a suitable amendment is highly recommended. This could be an organic amendment such as a peat moss, or an inorganic soil amendment such as a porous ceramic product, which can improve both capillary and non-capillary performance characteristics, whilst also increasing infiltration rates, which is particularly important in areas prone to high rainfall. The amendment also adds valuable nutrient holding capabilities to the sand and increases cation exchange capacity, which results in less fertilizer inputs throughout the life of the green. Managing organic matter. Overuse of water and fertilizers can promote excessive organic matter accumulation, leading to soft, wet surfaces which play poorly for the golfer. Such unhealthy surfaces can also dry out very rapidly in hot weather, resulting in undesirably hard surfaces and uncontrollable bounce of the golf ball. Preventing the over-accumulation of organic matter should be a key aim of your management program. Minimal watering and feeding, combined with mechanical removal of excess material and subsequent applications of sand-based top dressing, can go a long way towards building a healthy soil profile. Another key factor is controlling shade. Shade from trees is not an issue on links courses, of course. However, this can be a major issue on parkland and tropical golf courses, as all closely mown turf, particularly greens and tees, need plenty of air movement and good access to sunlight. Improving the growing conditions for your turf may require you to look at shading, tree management via regular pruning or removal in some cases. And keeping in mind that shade issues are the easiest to assess during the design phase of the project. Working to keep the turf on your golf course as healthy as possible throughout the year is a key management decision. Unhealthy turf will be wholly reliant on water, fertilizer, pesticide, and extremely costly to maintain. To get a better grasp of the opportunities and threats facing the golf course, it is vital that you assess performance and progress and how maintenance practices impacts on it. In order to make objective assessments of playing quality, collating data on how services have been performing is necessary to review past trends, monitor current performance, and also predict future changes. Keeping records and using the analysis of collected data effectively will allow you to demonstrate to your customers and employers that they are receiving a quality golfing experience and good value for money. Finally, be aware of your social responsibility and engage with your community. Every golf course will have an impact on the local community of people. In some cases, antagonism towards golf is often a consequence of lack of understanding of how the course is managed or the club operated. It is important to be aware of how your golf course interacts with the community and to highlight the benefits which your course can provide. There may be a cost in time or resources associated with building good relations with the local community, but this will be repaid many times over if you can gain their confidence and support for your future endeavours. Thank you for watching the presentation, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me directly.
Thank you, Chris. That was, I'm sure you all agree, that was a fantastic presentation. And Chris is joining us momentarily. He'll join us live for the Q&A. I think one thing is Chris has provided us all his professional background during the video, but needless to say, he's one of the most respected turfgrass management, general management professionals in the industry. And from an AGI perspective, Chris has just been on the board for close to 7 years, serving as treasurer and currently secretary of the AGIF. And he's been a tireless supporter of the AGIF in the industry as a whole. And for that, we are truly grateful. Chris, thank you very much and welcome. Thanks, Chris. So great presentation. And I think we have a few questions already lined up from the attendees. So I'll just go through them. I know you can see them as well. You have a question from Nick Davies, who says, who asked, what were the key elements in speccing Zoysia at SICC?
Well, I think some of the key elements were a lot to do with the low light intensity in the center of Singapore, compared to even though Singapore is a small island, the center of Singapore does have a lot more cloud cover than other areas as East Coast or Sentosa, because it's a central catchment area where there's forests. So Bermuda grass has been planted in the past. Tiff eagle's been trialled in the past there with very limited success due to the several months of actually very poor growing conditions. So trials were conducted with several new varieties over the past few years, and the performance compared to the Tiff eagle in this location made the decision very simple for the committee.
Great, thanks. We have a question from Ross Grieve in Hong Kong. Chris, what form of evidence do you need to produce to tick the boxes for the on-course sections?
All right, Ross, good to hear from you. Hope things are going well there in Hong Kong. I think actually, if you go on to the on-course section, if you've got good records, particularly from the past year or so, it wouldn't take that long to actually go through and, as you say, tick all the boxes to move forward with certification. It's essentially having that historical data that you can input into the database.
We have a question from David Ross in the Philippines. Do you know who supplies paspalum in Southeast Asia?
Yes, I do. I'm not sure if I meant to mention any names here, but there are several certified suppliers. I guess it depends on which country you're looking at. If it's in the Philippines, maybe I can get back to you on that, or Eric can get back to you.
Yeah, David, we'd be happy to help you with several of our members who are suppliers of paspalum in Southeast Asia, no problem. I have a question, Chris. I mean, as the certificate of greenskeeping has run, and as you've noted with the AGIF for 2 to 3 years with 52 students and 29 mentors. On behalf of the AGIF, we'd like to thank Dominic Wall and Steve Isaac in addition for pushing through this, and grateful for the renewal of this program to continue. But as a mentor, and you mentored several of your staff at SICC when you were there, can you highlight what benefits you saw actively and what results you saw amongst your staff who went through the program?
Well, actually, it was a really good program for especially guys at the supervisor level, assistant superintendent level, who in Asia, the opportunity for formal education wasn't possible for a lot of these people. And although they've worked on golf courses for a long time and understand the basic practices just by doing it, sometimes they didn't have a great understanding of why they were doing certain things. The thing I noticed at SICC as a mentor with 3 of the staff members there was the engagement with the supervisors in why they were doing things, and then I'd be able to get them to actually plan some of the projects that we had ongoing, whether it be an upcoming coring project for the greens, to actually let them plan what they needed as far as resources, manpower, timing for what they were going to do. So it actually got them a lot more engaged in what was happening on the course rather than just being told what to do. And then from there, I'd noticed they'd come up to me and say they've noticed something on the course, or even give suggestions more rather than just sit back and wait for it to be told.
That's great to hear. We have a question from Henry in Malaysia. Henry works for Sustain. Thank you very much for your support, Henry. And as a previous superintendent, he's got a question for you. What are the criteria in applying for the R&A Sustainability Fund grant?
Well, the first criteria is it's actually done through our national, like the national body, the national affiliate, and we do need a Golf Course 2030 plan in place. In Singapore, there is a Golf Course 2030 plan that was completed, and then with that plan, it was identified what was the major issue in Singapore, and that was the waste disposal. So in a certain country, for example, whether it could be Malaysia or Thailand or Vietnam, we can look to work with key stakeholders in that country, put together a plan. Once a plan's in place and the key areas identified that possibly need further study for remedy, and that's when we move forward with the sustainability grant. So at the moment, we're moving forward with Gulf Australia, and we'll be looking to other countries in the region in the next year or so. So we're very happy to work with associations or key stakeholders in the countries here to look at that, and then that can open up the possibility for a sustainability fund grant.
So it first has to go through the national associations and working to access that, and then you have the possibility. Is there any front runners currently outside, in addition to Singapore, Australia, that you've seen?
Yeah. I've had some good discussions with Vietnam. Adam Calver, who's a board member of the AGIF based at Laguna Lang Co, is the general manager there, has had some initial discussions with the Vietnam Golf Association, as have the R&A as well. So this is a place, because you also need industry support along with that to drive this forward. But it is important to be affiliated with the national association, though. So Vietnam's made some steps towards that in Southeast Asia.
I guess I have a question, and this is very broad, as a practicing superintendent around the region yourself before, and certainly currently, what do you view, what are the top 3 challenges at really implementing sustainability on a practical level? I know this is a very broad question, but if you can give it a shot, I appreciate it.
Well, I think one of the mindset changes is, the challenge is golfers in Asia. Golfers in Asia have expectations for a parkland golf course. And although they do enjoy links courses now, but they still, in general, the population likes the parkland style. The Augusta National look, they've always loved that look over here. I recall building a golf course in Vietnam in the mid-90s, a links course on the ocean designed by Sir Nick Faldo. And one of the local officials came out and asked when it was going to be finished. And we said, well, it is finished. And he goes, well, you haven't planted any trees yet. So the expectation for a parkland golf course is one of the biggest challenges, and with that comes the consumption of water. Overwatering is probably one of the biggest issues I've seen in the region over my 25 plus years consulting and working out this part of the world, is trying to change the mindset on irrigation and how much irrigation is put down. This has been helped a lot with soil moisture sensors. The handheld sensors have helped a lot to understand that you don't really need to keep watering every single day for 20 minutes every single sprinkler to look at individual control. That's another big factor. And because it rains a lot in a lot of Southeast Asia, you do get a disregard sometimes for the amount of irrigation that puts down. Waste disposal is another issue, and how that's done in a sustainable manner, not just dumping waste or organic waste off to the side of the course, and then not really sure how it gets disposed of. So I think taking control of what happens with your waste disposal is key. And I think what's happening now with the possibility to use the biodigesters and break down, and then actually turn that into a fertilizer, and using what you have as well from the restaurants as well as their waste. So that's probably some of the key things that I've seen in my years over here.
Well, I think that's all the questions we have, Chris. You have any closing comments that you'd like to make before I wind up?
Well, firstly, I'd just like to thank everyone for joining the webinar. And if you have any questions, please send me an email, chrisgray@randa.org. Obviously there's some resources there. Go on the R&A website, randa.org. The Sustainability Golf website by the GEO is a fantastic resource. I highly recommend to have a look at OnCourse. Now, OnCourse, I would say probably I went through this process 10 years ago as a course manager, getting a course certified in China. And it has become a lot more streamlined to do the OnCourse program now. I think before it was really more of a tool just to work towards certification. Now the OnCourse platform can be used on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. It's very good for reporting. It's a great way to store your data and also prepare reports. Even if those reports are just internal, but to report to to the board or committee or upper management or an owner on what you're doing, it's actually a really good tool for that, and the certification can move on from there, as you mentioned about ticking the boxes. But most courses who have kept very good records should be able to move forward with the on-course program in a pretty quick manner, as we've seen Sentosa Golf Club at the moment are going through the on-course certification stage at the moment.
We do have a last question from Ross, again in Hong Kong. He says, Chris, have you noticed a gap between sustainability in the likes of European conditions versus Asian conditions?
Yeah, definitely. It still comes down to I think at the end of the day, it comes down to the customers and what they want to see on the golf course. Here, the perception is if it's not perfectly green, then there's something wrong with it. And this goes back to the Open. I think it might have been at Hoy Lake around 2006. I think it was held there, and it was pretty dry in the lead up to that tournament. And Alistair Beggs is on the call with the R&A Agronomy team here, and he can attest to that. And some golfers that I knew from Asia went out there, and I asked them how was the Open when they came back, and the first statement they said was, "Oh, the course was dead," because it had just turned quite brown. So it's the acceptance in Europe to having actually shades of green, maybe some shades of brown, which in Asia people see that as dead grass. Generally most turf just goes dormant and then comes back when you have water. So it's really the acceptance of colour on the golf course and how that plays. I mean, also the enjoyment of having a variation in the way a course can play. Sometimes it's firmer, sometimes it's a little softer. It changes with the seasons. So I think it's the acceptance of the changing golf course with the climate is probably the hardest one to get across here in Asia.
We have another a few things coming at the last minute. We have another comment from a question from Nick Davies. This is, how much influence does over the USGA or PGA does the R&A have when this important golf market only shows verdant green golf courses on television, meaning I guess the PGA Tour being broadcast into our homes here in Asia?
Well, actually, yeah, typically the PGA Tour events are played on pristine courses. They're in peak condition for that week of the year. That's what they work towards. I think we've seen the US Open, though, with the USGA, they've actually gone the other way and gone to a more natural hue to the way the golf courses are presented. The challenges are around controlling the ball roll with that. But I think the USGA have moved in that direction over the years to be a bit more sustainable in the way they present the championships, and that's commendable. But like I said, the R&A, the Open Championships, like to present golf in its natural form, but of course keeping up with certain standards, and you see that the way the agronomy team work with the courses, particularly the Open Championship courses, leading into events, even years out, some of the testing that they're doing, performance testing every month with those golf courses on the standards, whether it be organic matter content, ball roll, moisture levels in the greens. So there's a lot more attention being played to the courses to be more consistent for the Open Championship and also the other championship courses, but still remaining as natural as possible, rather than being too artificial.
Great, Chris. I think we've reached the questions limit here. I'd like to thank you very much for all the time and all the effort you put in that presentation. It was fantastic. So on behalf of the AGIF and all the attendees here, I'd like to thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, Eric. I appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
See you later, Chris. And then to the attendees, while I have you still here, I'd like to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us. Just to let you know about ongoing webinars that we have on a weekly basis. Next Thursday, March 4th at 10 a.m., we'll be joined by Alex Glasgow, who is the Technical Director of Agronomy for New Zealand Sports Turf Institute, who is our partner for the CIG, talking about soil tissue testing and fertilizer planning. Following that, on the Thursday, March 11th at 4 p.m., we'll be joined by Mark Bates, Director of Golf and Operations at Laguna National Golf and Country Club here in Singapore, talking on the topic, operating your golf shop, is it right for your golf club? So we're hitting both turf-related and club-related issues as we hope to do so. So this is just the start of fantastic 2021 schedule. So please continue to check out the AGIF website for the upcoming webinars. And that's it for now. Thanks again for taking time out of your busy schedules. Have a great rest of the week and a fantastic weekend. So thank you very much.